In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the new PLG wizard to create a PLG template. A PLG just stands for Personal Learning Goals. And it's a special type of framework because it contains a set of individualized outcomes for one learner. So here we can see a PLG for Asif Khan. It's based around 4 headings: key skills, literacy, maths, physical health and well-being. We've added the termly targets in there for autumn 24-25. On the right hand side, if I tap on the dotted rectangle, we can see that we've got a continuum to be able to record professional judgments using emerging, developing, secure, here displayed as EDS. So I'm now going to show you how you could create a PLG template that teachers would then be able to use to create a PLG similar to this. You may be looking to create a PLG template with different headings, but this video should still be able to help you to see how you can create a PLG template from scratch. So I've logged into the web console, the browser version of the app, and then I'm going to hover over Admin at the top right and click on PLG Manager. I'm then going to click on Manage PLG Templates towards the top right. Now you may already have a number of PLG templates in your system, and if not, I'll show you how you can create new PLG templates at the top right in a moment. Any PLG template that is in your system, you can click Preview on the right hand side to be able to preview the template. You may choose to then click the pencil icon to the right of one of these templates to be able to edit the PLG template to suit your needs. But we're going to click Create a New PLG Template at the top right. You can choose to click Create from a preset, and then you can click on these to be able to preview a PLG template. You'd be able to create a PLG template from one of these presets and then be able to edit it. But in this example, we're actually going to start with a blank template, and we're going to create a PLG template from scratch. So I've selected Start with a blank template, and then I click Create at the bottom right. So I'm then on a screen where I can create the PLG template. And on the right hand side in the background, I've got a set of personalized targets for a specific learner. And I want to be able to create a PLG template so that teachers could create a PLG with a set of outcomes based around the 4 headings of key skills, literacy, maths, physical health and well-being, and have a series of termly targets added throughout the academic year. This setting referred to their PLGs at their school as ILPs. So the first thing I'm going to do on the screen where we create the PLG template is click Rename at the top left. So this is where I can rename the PLG template. So I'm going to remove the text and I'm going to name this template ILP. And then I click Save. And if we go back to the Word document, the first thing I need to add are the headings of the PLG. Got key skills, literacy, maths, physical health and well-being. I'm going to copy across the text from key skills, and I'm then going to click Add Top Level Template Objects towards the top right. I can then start to add the objects to the PLG template. I then enter the names of the object that I want to add, adding each new object on its own line. I am going to select Paste as plain text because Word and Excel can sometimes add hidden characters. So I'm adding an object for each of the areas of the PLG. Key skills, literacy, maths, physical health and well-being. And we can see that in the pop-up box here. You can see below the properties of each of these objects that we're creating at this point. Each of these objects by default will appear in the PLG when they're being created using this template. Each of these objects are going to be mandatory and therefore each one must appear at least once in the PLG. I've not enabled item text change, means that users won't be able to change the item text of these objects, and also I'm not allowing multiples of them. Each of these objects will only be able to appear once when users are creating a PLG using this template. It's worth noting that you can add prefixes, schemas and tags to each of these template objects after they've been created. And now to create these objects, I'm just going to click Add at the bottom right. So I've now created these as objects within the PLG template. So I can now edit each of these objects in turn. I'm going to click Edit Template Object to the far right of Key Skills. This then takes me to a screen where I can edit this specific object. The name of the object is displayed at the top. I don't want to add a prefix to this specific object. The item text is key skills. As it's a heading, I don't want to enable evidence capture. I do though want to add tags to this object. If your school uses Insights for Learning, there are times that you might want to look across a number of PLGs and focus on the outcomes within key skills or the outcomes within literacy or maths. The way you can do that is to use tags. And there are other videos available within the EFL Online Resource Centre how you can set up and use tags to look at assessment data within Insights for Learning. But in this example, we've already created a tag for key skills, and I'm going to now be able to add this tag to this specific object. So I'm adding the key skills tag to the object key skills. Therefore, this key skills tag will be linked to the key skills heading across all the PLGs that are created using this template. As this is a heading, key skills, I'm not going to add a schema, and I'm also not going to add a status value. The template object properties are displayed on the right-hand side. There is a short and clear description underneath each property explaining it in further detail. I'm not going to make any further changes to this object, so I'm just going to click Update at the bottom right. I'm then going to edit the literacy object by clicking Edit Template Object to the far right. Again, I'm only making one change to this object. I'm just adding the literacy tag to this literacy object. Once selected, I just click Update at the bottom right. I'm now going to repeat that process, adding in the math tag to the maths object and the physical health and well-being tag to the physical health and well-being object. So I've completed that process. If we now go back to the Word document, within each area, the user is going to add in termly targets for autumn, spring, and summer. So I'm now going to add each of these as objects in the template. So I'm going to copy autumn 24-25 because I want to use that as a prefix. It's also going to make it easier when I name my objects. I'm going to then add a new template object within the key skills area. So I just click Add Template Objects directly to the right of key skills. I'm going to click Create New Template Object. I can create a number of objects at once. So I'm going to create an object for Autumn 24-25. I'm going to remove the colon and I'm going to do the same for Spring and Summer. And I'm going to name each of these objects, the name of the term and the academic year, and then I'm going to call it ILP outcome. So I'm now creating 3 new objects. When users are first using this template, they won't be adding in the spring and the summer outcome. So therefore I don't want these objects to be default. I also don't want them to be mandatory because I don't want them to have to be contained in a PLG. I do want to enable evidence capture because I want to be able to link evidence to the items that are created from these objects. I want users to be able to change the text of the object when they're adding in their learners' outcomes. Therefore, I enable item text change. I'm going to allow multiples because I may want the staff to be able to add more than one autumn outcome or more than one spring or summer outcome. Once I've completed the process of setting the properties of the objects, I can just click Add at the bottom right. As you can see, we've now added our termly objects. As before, we can edit each of these if we wish. So I'm going to click Edit Template Object to the right of the Autumn ILP outcome. We can see the name of the object at the top. This is where we can also set a prefix that I want to appear every time someone creates an item from this object. Prefix is going to be Autumn 24/25. I don't need to add a colon because it's a prefix. A colon will be automatically added at the end of the prefix. And then I do want to change the item text. So I'm going to make it really clear and easy for users. This is where users enter the autumn 24/25 ILP outcome here. And I'm going to put ... When users use this PLG template and this object, a user would be easily able to change this text here to be able to add in the learner-specific autumn term target. I do want to link evidence to items that are created from this object, so I leave Can Capture Evidence ticked. And I do also want to add tags to this object. The tags I'm going to add is one for 24/25, and I'm also going to add an autumn 24/25 tag. This would allow me to use these tags when looking at the assessment data within Insights for Learning. I also want to be able to add an assessment schema to this object. So I'll just click in the drop-down box. In this school, I've got 2 schemas. I've got Emerging, Developing Secure, and Map. And there are other videos available within the EFL Online Resource Centre that show you how quick and easy it is to either create your own continuum to track progress progress, or to use a preloaded continuing to track progress so that your users can start to record professional judgments within assessment books that are linked to PLGs. And therefore, I'm going to add a schema. And the schema I'm going to add in this example is EDS, Emerging, Developing, Secure. You also have the option to add a default status value, but I'm not going to do that in this case. And again, there's other videos available within the EFL Online Resource Centre that show you how quick and easy it is to set up status values and framework views to help highlight which outcomes are currently being worked on or to hide outcomes in the background that are no longer being worked on. I could set the object properties on the right hand side. I'm not going to make any further changes at this point, so I can just click Update at the bottom right. So I'm going to edit. I'm now going to repeat that process, editing the spring and the summer objects. I can review this just by clicking Advanced Options at the top. I can then also enable Show Prefix and Item Text, as well as enable Show Schema. We can then review the termly objects. We can see the prefix on the left-hand side, and we can also see the item text on the right in green. And as it is in green, we know that the user will be able to edit the item text, be able to add in the specific outcome for the learner when they come to create their PLG. You can also see the schema EDS has been added to each of the termly objects. We've now built out the key skills section of the PLG template. It's really then quick and easy to build out the other sections. We just click Add Template Object directly to the right of literacy. We can then click Add an existing template object, and I'm going to select all three template objects for each of the termly outcomes. Once they've been selected, I can just click Add at the bottom right. And as you can see, I've now added those termly objects to the literacy section of the PLG template. I'm going to repeat that process for maths and physical health and well-being. We can see all the items of the PLG template down the left-hand side. We can also enable object list mode at the top. This then just shows a simpler view of the PLG template and just shows each of the objects. This makes it really easy and clear to see which objects you need to be able to edit if you want to, especially when some of those objects are being repeated throughout the PLG template. Initially, when people are using this PLG template, they'll just be adding the autumn term targets. And when we get close to the spring term and the summer term, then they'll be adding those targets for those terms. So the final thing I'm going to do is click Show Template Object Properties at the top to enable it. And the object properties are also displayed on the right hand side then by each of these icons. I can just hover over the icon and a little note explains what that icon enables in terms of the properties. At the moment, all the objects in the PLG template have an A icon, which means they're available to use. I'm actually going to make the spring and the summer objects not currently available until closer to the time. So when users are first using this PLG template, they'll only be able to add items using the autumn object. Finally, I'm going to switch off object list mode to see the PLG template in full. You can click Save as Draft periodically at the bottom right. And if you are going to leave your desk, then I would recommend that you click Save as Draft. There is a timeout feature within the web console. So if after a period of time of inactivity, a warning message will pop up asking do you want to remain logged in. And if you don't click on that warning message, you will be logged out. So I would save as draft periodically, and especially if you're leaving your desk. For the PLG template to become live, you must click Review and Update at the bottom right. You're then taken to a screen where you can see the current version of the template, and there are no items in it because it's a brand new PLG template. And on the right hand side, you can see the proposed version of the PLG template. All the items are displayed in green because they're all new. You could click cancel and continue to edit the PLG template, but in this occasion, I'm going to click validate and update so that PLG template becomes available to use. You are then able to enter a reason for the change or the reason for creating the PLG template, but you don't have to, and in this occasion, I'm just going to click submit. So I did set the PLG template to live, so it is now available to use, and we can see that at the bottom, and it's called ILP. So that shows you how quick and easy it is to create a PLG template from scratch. So there's another video available within the EFL Online Resource Centre that shows how a user then can create a PLG using the PLG template that you've just created.
If you have any questions or we can help in any way, then please do get in touch. You can email us using services@theteachercloud.net and we'll be happy to help.